Okay, it is 12th of August 2011, and we want to start on the Khuddaka Nikaya tonight. We just finished the Digha Nikaya. The teaching of the Buddha is mentioned in the suttas. The Buddha called his teachings the Dhammavuddho. The Buddha did not use the word Tipitaka or Tripitaka. In the earliest discourses of the Buddha and in the Vinaya books, the Buddha always referred to his teachings as the Dhammavuddho. And we find in Anguttara Nikaya 4.180, the Buddha said that if any monk says that the Buddha taught such and such, his words should be compared to the suttas and the Vinaya. Only with accords with the suttas and the Vinaya can you take it to be the words of the Buddha. So in other words, Dhamma refers to the suttas. And the Buddha also said that his true Dhamma will remain for 500 years, meaning that after 500 years, the Dhamma will be polluted, wrong teachings will arise. So within the 500 years after the Buddha's passing away, we have the Emperor Asoka in India. And Emperor Asoka made great efforts to propagate the Buddha's teachings. So he made these stone pillars where the words of the Buddha were carved. And now that people dig up these, archaeologists dig up these stone pillars, Asokan pillars, they find that during Emperor Asoka's time, we have 5 Nikayas. 5 Nikayas means collections. So 5 collections of the Buddha's discourses, also called suttas. And we have the Vinaya books. So this is original Buddhism because it was within the 500 years after the Buddha's passing away. And those 5 Nikayas have been transmitted down to us fairly purely. You won't say 100%, maybe 95%, but it's sufficient. So we already went through the Anguttara Nikaya, the first one. Then the second Nikaya we went through was the Sangyutta Nikaya, and then the Majjhima Nikaya. And this Vasa we just completed the Digha Nikaya. Now we start on the Khuddaka Nikaya. This word Khuddaka means minor or small. And during the Emperor Asoka's time, it was considered small Nikaya, small collection, because it only consisted of very few books, very few suttas compared to the other Nikayas. But over the years, from Emperor Asoka's time until now, it has grown. A lot of later books have been added to it. We can see very clearly in Myanmar or Burma, in about 1956, when they held what they call the 6th Sangha meeting, also called the 6th International Buddhist Synod, they call it, that they added another 3 books to the Khuddaka Nikaya. And these 3 books are the Netipakarana, Petakopadesa, and Milinda Panha. And everybody knows, and they also know that these 3 books are not the words of the Buddha, and yet they still insist on adding these 3 books into the Khuddaka Nikaya. But other countries, other Buddhist countries have not done so. So, according to other Buddhist countries, the Khuddaka Nikaya consists of 15 books, whereas the Burmese say it consists of 18 books. We find in this book from Burma, Guide to the Tipitaka. This book is by U Kole, the former Vice Chancellor of Mandalay University. He says that in the 1956, 6th International Buddhist Synod in Burma, the Burmese Sangha, they define the Khuddaka Nikaya not as a minor collection but as a major collection, and they have even included the Vinaya Pitaka and the Abhidhamma Pitaka into the Khuddaka Nikaya, which we find very strange. Khuddaka Nikaya is only part of the Sutta Pitaka, and how can it include the Vinaya and include the Abhidhamma? So this is what they have done. Now, coming into the Khuddaka Nikaya, so we consider the Khuddaka Nikaya as being 15 books only. The first book is the Khuddaka Pata. The Khuddaka Pata means minor passages or small passages. And this Khuddaka Pata consists of nine sections inside there, 9 suttas. It is used as a manual for novices under training. It consists of the 3 refuges, the 10 precepts, the 32 parts of the body, and simple dhammas for novices to recite. And then also includes the Mangala Sutta, Ratana Sutta, Tirokuda Sutta, Nidikanda Sutta, Metta Sutta. And that's a Khuddaka Nikaya. And then the second book is the Dhammapada. This Dhammapada is the most well known of all the Buddhist books, and also one of the most popular. It consists of 423 verses, arranged in 26 sections. This Dhammapada is a real treasury of the Buddha's words. That's why it's so popular. Words of wisdom, and quite practical also. The third book is the Udana. Udana means solemn utterances of the Buddha. They are mostly in verse form, but it is accompanied by prose, detailing the circumstances which led to the verses. And there are 8 sections. 8 sections. Each one is 10. So there are 80 Udanas or 80 suttas. The fourth book is called the Iti Vuttaka. This is called Iti Vuttaka because each of the suttas begins with the words Iti Vuccati, thus it is said. So this Iti Vuttaka consists of 112 short suttas in 4 chapters, and each of the sutta is accompanied by verses. Then the 5th book is the Sutta Nipata. Sutta Nipata means collection of suttas, and there are 71 suttas in the Sutta Nipata under 5 sections of Vargas. This Sutta Nipata, some of the older suttas are inside here. And then the 6th book is the Vimana Vatu, the stories of the celestial mansions, about heavenly beings. These stories, because they are just stories, it's hard to believe that they come from the Buddha, probably transmitted over the years. And then the 7th book is the Peta Vatu, consists of 51. The Vimana Vatu consists of 85 suttas or poems, and the Peta Vatu consists of 51 stories about wandering ghosts. It also was probably cooked up over the years. Then the 8th book is the Theragatha, verses of the elders, containing 107. Here it says poems or verses. And they are the Arahant monks. Then the 9th book is Therigatha, verses of the elder nuns, Theris, mostly Arahant nuns. Then the 10th book is the Jataka, or birth stories, stories of supposed to be past lives of the Buddha. But it seems the Jatakas have been around even before the Buddha's time. And originally there was no mention of the Buddha in the Jatakas. And then they used it and then talk about the Bodhisattva being born in the past life as a deer, as a some animal. But it's if you read it, it's hard to believe it was spoken by the Buddha, because in those Jataka stories, animals can talk like human beings, and they seem to be smarter sometimes than human beings. The 11th book is the Nidesa. It's a commentary divided into Mahanidesa, a commentary on the Attaka Vaga of the Sutta Nipata. And number 2 is the Chula Nidesa, a commentary on the Parayana Vaga. And the Kaga Visana Sutta, also of the Sutta Nipata. The Nidesa is itself commented on in the Saddhamma Pajotika of Upasena, and there attributed to Sariputta. So this is more like a commentary, this book Nidesa. Then the 12th book is the Patisambhida Magga. It's an analysis of concepts and practices already mentioned in the Vinaya, Pitaka, and Digha, Sangyutta, and Anguttara Nikayas. It's divided into 3 sections: Mahavaga, Yoganada Vaga, and Panya Vaga. Each one containing 10 topics. So these detailed analysis is very scholarly kind of book. Then the 13th book is Apadana. The stories of the former lives of 550 monks and 40 nuns. This is also created over the years. Then the 14th book is the Buddha Vangsa, the lineage of the Buddhas, or history of the Buddhas, in which the Buddha relates the account of his forming and the resolve to become a Buddha, and gives a history of the 24 Buddhas who preceded him. This 24 Buddhas is a legend that was created later. We find in the early suttas, the Buddha said he looked into the past and he only saw 6 Sammasambuddhas, whereas here they talk about 24 Buddhas. And in this Buddha Vangsa, these 24 Buddhas are supposed to have predicted that our Bodhisattva will become Sakyamuni Buddha. But according to the early suttas, the Buddha only met one previous Sammasambuddha, that is Kassapa Buddha, not 24. The 15th book is the Charya Pitaka. These are 35 stories from the Jatakas, illustrating 7 out of the 10 paramis. These paramis were also created later. Paramis means perfections of character, things like generosity, morality, renunciation, wisdom, energy, patience, truthfulness, determination, loving kindness, and equanimity. So the Mahayana talk about 6 paramitas, and the Hinayana, they also join the bandwagon. They talk about the 10 paramis. So these are the 15 books of the Khuddaka Nikaya. So let me see. So maybe I'll just give that introduction to the Khuddaka Nikaya and stop here for tonight. Tomorrow we can start on the Udana. Anything to discuss?
This is the last year we're going to be talking about suttas.
Yeah, run out of suttas to talk.
So, do you have any plans for next year? Do you have any plans, like any plans for the program for next year?
No plans.
These 13 books are all the Buddhist countries that believe that these are original. You were saying that.
Oh no, yeah, that's a good question because I forgot to go into that. Out of these 15 books, if we compare them with the earlier 4 Nikayas, we find that only 6 books do not contradict the earlier 4 Nikayas. So because of that, only 6 books are acceptable to be original Buddhism. And what are the 6 books? Let's look at it again. The first one is the Dhammapada. For one thing, you must distinguish between the Dhammapada and the Dhammapada Atthakatha. The Dhammapada Atthakatha is the Dhammapada commentary, where the stories were created as to the circumstances which led to the Buddha giving the verses of the Dhammapada. So those stories in the Dhammapada commentary are not reliable. They are not part of original Buddhism. So the first book is Dhammapada. The second book is Udana, the solemn utterances of the Buddha. This also is consistent with original Buddhism. Third one is Itivuttaka. The fourth one is Sutta Nipata, the collection of suttas. Then the fifth is the Theragatha, and the sixth is the Therigatha. So only these 6 books we will go through. The others, because like Jatakas are only stories. There's no real Dhamma in there. And then Vimana Vatu also, the stories about Devas and Devis, and Petavatu also, stories about ghosts. And things like Nidesa is just a commentary, and Patisambhida Magga is just a book of concepts and analysis, and then the Apadana and Buddha Vangsa and Charyapitaka, all stories only. So only these 6 books are reliable and which we will go through. The Dhammapada, Udana, Itivuttaka, Sutta Nipata, Theragatha and Therigatha. Okay, shall we stop here?